Olasimbo is the CEO of Solar Sister, a social enterprise empowering women entrepreneurs to deliver clean energy solutions to communities across Africa. She is a leading voice in renewable energy, gender equity, and climate resistance. She has spent more than a decade expanding energy access and economic opportunity for underserved communities in Nigeria, Tanzania, and Kenya.
Thank you. Okay, it's so great to be here. Okay, so I'm going to start by telling you about one of our entrepreneurs. Her name is Rifikatu Bawa. She is from northern Nigeria. She's a 51-year-old widow who is a school teacher. And after a full day of work at school, she does something that most people here wouldn't do. She gets on a bicycle. She's armed with her business in a bag, and she rides through villages that have not been connected to the grid to deliver solar products to her community members. And she joined Solar Sister in 2021, just a few years ago, when she realized, again, just losing her husband, she didn't have enough money to take care of her family, and she joined with $25 worth of products. That's how she started. And today, she's delivered hundreds of products in her community: solar lamps, solar home systems, and clean cook stoves. So she's one of 12,900 women entrepreneurs that have been recruited, trained, and supported by Solar Sister. And again, my name is Olasimbo Sonjinrin. I'm the CEO of Solar Sister. But this work is very personal to me. I remember what brought me to Solar Sister. I think I was 7 or 8 years old. I grew up in Lagos, Nigeria. We did have grid, but we had less than 5 hours or 6 hours of energy every day. And so I remember coming into the kitchen. It was late at night after a full days of work for my mom as well. She was cooking for the family. And the whole kitchen was engulfed in smoke. She was trying to do this meal. Her eyes were, red. We were all coughing. And I was just like, wow, why does energy poverty have a woman's face? Why do women have to, deal with this every day? And I think that's what led me here. So at Solar Sister, again, there is a lot of talk, and we have said a little bit about it today. There has been a long time conversation about the grid. When will this, when will the wires get there? When will the substations be built? When will policies change? And all of these are very important. But the truth is, tonight, 600 million Africans do not have access to the national grid. And how are they going to be served? And so at Solar Sister, we decided to build a different kind of grid, a human one, a woman who's now the one who is in charge of delivering products to this community. And what does it mean when a woman walks the last mile? What does this mean? Since 2010, we've actually distributed more than 1.3 million clean energy products. We've mitigated more than 2.2 million tons of CO2, and we have actually put back over $231 million back in the community of savings in energy costs that families would otherwise have spent on kerosene or on energy-related costs. So yes, what happens even after a few years that she's been an entrepreneur? We did a study with 60 decibels recently and looked beyond 5 years. Entrepreneurs, about 95% of them reported that this was the very first enterprise support that they had ever received. And 5 years on, they're still involved in income-generating activities. We've seen the school enrollments go up. I mean, in some of these communities, once it's 6 p.m. and the sun goes down, economic activities just stop. And so with the solar lights, they're able to go longer, and their children are able to go to school and read and study longer. So these are just some of the impacts that we can get when a woman actually delivers this product. But again, I have to be frank, there is a gap. The challenge is bigger than what one person can solve, and I think we alluded to it in the panel today. It has to be a community of people together that will come together and serve that will come together to serve this. So again, in Nigeria alone, there's 63 million people without electricity. In Tanzania, it's 36 million, and I think in Kenya, it's about 12 million. So the problem is not the demand. The problem is capital in the hands of the women who need it the most. And through the years, we've had great ambitions. We want to reach more people. But again, the way the current infrastructure is, women are the ones who get the least finance. A lot of the societies where we are, they get the smallest loans. And even with those smallest loans, they pay the largest interest. And so things need to change in order for this to work. And so I think today, as we are celebrating the International Day of Light, I think I have a charge for everyone. Yes, our ambition at Solar Sister is to reach 30 million people by 2030. But in order to do that, some things need to change. Firstly, for the policymakers, again, we need to count the woman. The current energy data that we have a lot of times exclude women or exclude the last mile, especially what happens at the last mile. And so what gets measured gets done. What gets counted gets funded. And so, again, this is my charge to policymakers to ensure that we are looking at the ways women in these communities, how to structure things that will work for them. And again, for funders, we'll say, if we look at, if a multinational utility breaks down, which it usually does, we will say it's a market failure. We'll go into a boardroom and we'll restructure the deal. But when a woman distributes over 200 solar lamps in her community, she's called inspiring. And we don't need to be called inspiring. We need to be capitalized. We want to do more. And so for funders, please let's look at how to look at deals that do work for women, because the current finance infrastructure right now was done without the woman in context. And for technologists, because I know that there are a few in the room, yes, a lot of these solar solutions will be developed in cities, but they will live and die in the villages. And so my charge is develop these products with her and not for her. And so, and if you're just here tonight, just because you are interested in light, I will say this, in the communities where I work, a lot of times, light is not delivered by a wire. It's delivered by a woman on a bicycle with a bag, serving her communities. She is the grid, and she's been waiting a long time for people to notice. So thank you very much.
So Unite to Lighten Solar Sister for the past 6 years has been trying to do a carbon offset in Tanzania. And it's, all of these things that Simbo was talking about just kind of grate at me, because we have this amazing project. It was originally funded from the University of California. They had some priority changes, which is fine. It happens. But it's this beautiful project because it not only brings reduced cost light, it empowers women, and it provides a carbon offset. And we just can't get it financed, and it's so frustrating. So I just want to thank Simbo and her team for their standing with us for so many years. But one of the things, we did do a pilot project, which was really exciting. And one of the things I wanted to ask Simbo about, and I'm hoping you're going to take this one, we surveyed the women that we had worked with and said, okay, so you're distributing lights. Tell us what it means for you. How does that impact not just your economics, but other things in your life? And what did they tell us? Do you remember?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, as I say, our Solar Sister entrepreneurs don't distribute products the way a stranger would. I mean, they sell it the way a sister would, She knows the woman who's 2 houses away who is saving for her children's school fees, and she knows to take them a smaller light, right? She knows the man who has cataracts, who needs a brighter light, and she knows to, take that light directly to him. she knows the costs. You know, she knows what it costs to use kerosene every day or candle every day, and she knows that by changing to a light, she's able to save that. So, again, a lot of the impacts that we saw are around children enrollment in schools. At baseline, we had about 85%. Today, it's 95% children's enrollment in schools just by that. Majority of what they spend their income on was food, which, again, that's the first thing. But then very, very closely, it's school fees for their children. And again, when a woman is empowered, she usually spends the money for the whole family. So we say it's powered by a woman, but for the benefit of the family.
I just realized I was out of the camera, so I'm going to come over here. Simbo mentioned a few things that I think is really important: community, food, family, empowerment. And she's talking about much of her work is in Africa, but I just came from Honduras last week and talked to the women there. Same thing. Instead of spending money on ocote, which is essentially it's a piece of wood. It's terrible. It's actually worse than kerosene. They can buy food. They can invest in chickens. They can do things like that really encourages their entire community for the better. And so it's just a great thing. And then also decision making. I think that was another thing.
There's increased agency. So the report shows increased decision making, leadership positions. There's just the ripple effects of just having that one light had been really transformational.
Okay, we've got 1 more minute. Any questions for Simbo? I'm going to let John go, and then we'll wrap up.
We have more time. So what do you, there are investors here, and what would you need from this community to be more successful and expand more rapidly?
So we are building a partner. We want to build a partner community of supporters and funders, because it's not economical sometimes to get that light to the last mile. Sometimes we spend 3 times the cost just to be able to deliver that product to where it's needed the most. And so we're always looking for people who want to work that journey with us and to support our entrepreneurs on the field to be able to make that journey.
Thank you. John's got one more.
So what is the cost of kerosene now? Like, how fast does a light pay for itself?
So I think the last math, because in a country like Nigeria, where the government is actually taking out the subsidy. We used to have a subsidy, and so the kerosene was a lot more affordable. But now, I think kerosene costs about over $1 a liter, and so again, some lights are as low as $5. So again, if you buy one light that would last you 5 years, that is just maybe a month's worth of kerosene. And so you can imagine the savings for the long run.
We're going to take Monica's question. Last one. No. Hang on. Monica, I'm going to have you repeat.
Yes.
I think I'm just interested in how she would define the last mile.
The last mile for us is the hardest to reach area. So this is where most commercial models will not dare to go, because it's the most remote community, basically, that you can think of. The infrastructure there is not, they are very under-resourced. They are definitely underserved. Yes, that's how I'll describe it.
Well, thank you so much, Simbo. We really appreciate it.